Hi guys, and welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it so very much. Welcome, my name is Aiden. I'm so happy that you're here. We have another swatch video. This time I went through and I pulled out all of the rest of my highlighter palettes. So I've done some 4for4s with highlighters in the past highlighter palettes, and I'll try to remember to link those up above in case you are interested in those. But I pulled out all of the rest that were just highlighter palettes. I have some blush and like all over face palettes that have more than one type of product in it. I still have some of those that I haven't worked through, but these are just highlighter palettes. So I pulled them all out and have been testing them out, and I'm going to be decluttering some of them. So first up I have the Kat Von D, yes it is Kat Von D, KVD Metal Crush highlighter. This is the Extreme highlighter palette. I have a second Kat Von D or KVD. I have the Alchemist palette, which is the face and eye highlighter palette. Then I have a Crime Fairies palette. This is the highlight palettes. And then I have an ABH Glow Kit or Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is Moonchild, very iconic back in the day. And then I have two Wet n Wild palettes. These have the same names on them. So they are the Megaglo highlighting palette, but they look different as you can tell, and they have very different colors inside. So I'm going to swatch all of these, tell you my thoughts on them, which ones I liked, which ones I am decluttering, and why. Before I get started, don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. If you haven't already subscribed, please do consider subscribing. And then don't forget to leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you've tried any of these highlighters, what your favorite highlighter is, what your favorite highlighter palette is. If you like palettes or if you'd rather have a single, let me know down below. All right, we're gonna start with Moonchild because it's the first one that I was using. And these are very cool toned highlighters. They are very, let's see if I can get this, it's not gonna expose it too much. I know these are a little harder to see on camera, so that's what they look like. They are all cool toned shades. Some of them are much darker than others, but let's see how they swatch. All right, so that is what the shades look like all together. As you can see, they do have a shift to them. In different lights they look differently, and there's a reason why ABH like exploded with these glow kits, because the formula on these are so beautiful. They are kind of a blinding highlight. They have a gorgeous sheen to them. They don't look chunky on the skin, and they lay nicely on the skin. That is part of it for sure. So there they are. Let's see. Kind of, well, they're backwards, but so you can see you have that pink, you have blue, you have a slightly green shade. Let me see if I can make one blend it out just a little bit, because obviously you wouldn't wear it like that. So you get a better idea of how they swatch, how they would perform on the skin. They are absolutely beautiful. Are they the most practical? No, they are definitely not a practical highlight. Like, I don't wear these shades most of the time. But is the formula good? Yes, the formula is excellent on these. Is it a fun palette to have? Yeah. That pink I would wear. I actually can see myself all but like the two darkest shades that are here on the bottom. Let me see if I can blend those out a little bit. So as you can see, like, I think 4 of them I could get away with wearing. The other 2, not so much. I'm not one that wears highlighters or blushes on my eyes. I know people are always like, oh yeah, you can do that. That's not really my jam, but I am going to keep this palette because I think the formula is so good. And I do see myself maybe occasionally reaching for this one. I have been working on trying to pan some highlighters, so maybe I'll work on panning a palette in 2024. Who knows? Let's look at another palette that is similar in its shades. This is the KVD Alchemist palette. Now this is supposed to be for face or for eyes. I remember I took this to Vegas when I went to see the Backstreet Boys residency. That was several years ago. But you do once again have 4 shades, and they do have kind of a shift to them as well. They're light, but they also have a distinct shade to them. I'm going to try to swatch them underneath so you can see the difference in how they perform. All right, so as you can see, that's what they look like down below. The one thing I will say about these is they're a chunkier formula. They're not as smooth. And they're still pretty. And I remember really enjoying this, especially like the pink. But let me see if I can rub them out a little bit so that they're, you know, a little bit more like how you would wear them. I think you can see the difference, how they're just a little bit more chalky. And like the green versus the green, this one just has a little bit more presence. It sticks on the skin just a little bit more. They're harder to control too. I feel like I get more pickup on with the KVD one than I do with the Moonchild. So, you know, I'm going to declutter this one. I've held on to this one for so long, and I actually have a backup of this one because I won one just after I purchased it. And so, yeah, I'm kind of sad. And I even bought, like, there's a single of this too. So maybe if I don't know, I've lost a whole bunch of highlighters. Like, I know there's a whole bunch of highlighters. I'm just not sure where I put them. But I know I have the smaller one that they did as a single too. So yeah, this one is being decluttered. I don't think it's the best quality. Next up, we have the two Wet n Wild palettes, and I thought I'd show you them side by side so you could kind of see the difference in them and how they are very different. The one I still have like a plastic cover on. I don't know if the other one didn't come with one or if I just got rid of it already. So as you can see, like, one is colored and then one is more like traditional highlighter shades in very different shades. Like, there are 4 different tones there. We're going to start with this one that is the more colorful one. So you have a definite green, a definite blue, and then a peach and a pink. I love the embossing on these. Like, I think the patterns that they put on there are just so pretty. So when I've been using them, I've been trying to stay away from the patterns because I think they're so pretty. So that's what they look like. As you can see, this pink is the most prominent. It definitely has a beautiful sheen. It is my favorite from the palette. The blue has a good sheen to it. And then the other two don't have as much of a sheen to them. They're just a little bit more chunky and less shimmer to them, more I don't know, they don't feel like the same formula. The top two don't feel like the same formula as the bottom two. And that peach, you can barely see it on my skin because it really doesn't have much of a gleam at all. Like, I've just blended it out and you can't see it at all. So I'm going to blend them out really fast so you can kind of get a better idea. I still think that top pink is absolutely beautiful, but to keep this for that one shade is not practical. So I am going to declutter all of these, or declutter this palette, because I could see myself wearing one, and I don't want to just depot one of these and put it in a Z palette when maybe somebody else can get use out of the other ones, figure out a different use for them, maybe highlighter, maybe something else that they can use them for. But yes, those top two are much more shimmery than the bottom two, which is very disappointing. So then let's look at the other Megaglo, and this one, we once again have 4 shades in here. These are more natural type shades, I would say. So you have like a true kind of gold, you have a more bronze, you have a pink, and you have a white. Let's swatch them. So that's what they look like swatched off the top. They are definitely have different colors than the last palette. I like the pink in the other palette a little bit better than the pink in this palette. I want to make sure that I'm using this right finger to blend out. So obviously the bottom two are too dark for my skin tone. They don't really work as a highlighter. They cause more of a shadow. The white is a little too cool toned. It's a little too blatantly white on my skin, kind of with a purple shift. And the pink is okay, but like, if you look at it compared to that other pink just takes the cake every time, unfortunately. So this is another one. I don't know who this would work for because they are so different. Like, if you're a makeup artist, I don't see you carrying Wet n Wild in your case. So I wish they would have done, you know, like 4 shades that would work for light skin tones, and then like 4 for darker skin tones, because there's such a wide variety in there with those shades. So yeah, another declutter. Okay, next up we have the Kat Von D Metal Crush. This one is kind of crazy. You have 3 shades in here. They're not too crazy, but the way that they perform is a little crazy. So I don't know if you can tell, but they already have like texture on them. They're definitely not a smooth formula. They're not a chunky glitter, but I feel like this is kind of close to a chunky glitter in the way that they perform, in that they don't lay smoothly. They have like a texture to them, but in a different way, like where the Alchemist felt a little bit more chalky. These don't feel chalky. These just look more chunky. I don't even know if that makes sense. But if you, problem is my face has to be on screen or else it changes shades. So they definitely have a presence to them. They don't lie soft. Like it looked like I put glitter on my face when I wore these. I don't mind the shades. I think the shades are actually pretty. I like the peach. I like the pink. I like even that kind of that gold in the middle. The shades are very pretty. But is this something I would want to wear out in public for the most part? No, because they look fine this way. Sorry, trying to keep the highlighter contained. So from here, they look okay. Like you just see kind of color and some shimmer, right? But when you get up close, they still have that chunkiness to them, and it doesn't look very good on the skin up close. So if I was doing from far away, it would be fine. Like this looks very pretty, but when I look up close, when I look in the mirror, I'm like, oh my gosh, this does not look good on me at all. It's not the type of look I would want. Maybe if these were eyeshadows, I would wear them. I think that they would be a much better formula. But like I said, I'm not one that kind of mixes eyeshadows and blushes and all of those. I know you can, but that's just not who I am as a person. So once again, this one is going to be decluttered because it just doesn't perform the way that I want it to, that I feel like good wearing. Which brings me to our last palette, and this is the Crime Hi-Lite Palette in Fairies. Now I bought 2 of these at TJ Maxx, and one of them got all like funky and I threw it out because it was not looking good. It looked like something had gotten into it. So I was really worried about this one, but this one has been fine. It hasn't shown anything. So I don't know what that was. Maybe it was just a bad batch. Maybe it was the shades when they made them. But these shades are quite standout. We have Magic, Moonlight, and Enchantment. Now, obviously, Moonlight is not something I would wear all of the time because that's a purple highlighter, and that's not really my thing, right? This is what they look like swatched. So they don't look quite as blinding from a distance as the Kat Von D ones, but they also are not chunky. So if I get up close so you can see the texture just a little bit more, you can see that these are much more smooth in their performance. And then let me blend them out for you. So there they are. Now, are these shades I will wear on the regular? No, these are not shades that I wear to school. They're not even shades like, I'm not wearing them today, but I have worn them when I was testing this all out. I was filming, and so you might have seen me wear them some days. I do like this shade, the bottom shade, the best. Keep setting it down. So that's this lightest shade here, that's Enchantment. I do find that this one works too. Moonlight is the only one that is a little iffy because it does have that purple shift to it, that purpleness to it. But I think they are very pretty. I like the way that the formula performs, and I'm really sad about the other one. I think it was the Unicorn palette that went bad because I do think Crime has some really nice highlighter formulas. I like these quite a bit and definitely will be wearing them. So now that I've tested them all out, what order would I put them in? What would I say is my favorite? What would I say is my least favorite? Are they ones that I would say go out and get? I would not say to go out and get any of these because I don't think they're practical palettes. And unless you're looking for a colored highlighter, for some reason, these are not ones that I would recommend. And I'd probably say that Kaleidos, if you're looking for just a single colored highlighter, I would go with Kaleidos because they have some really nice ones. I do have a couple of those in my collection that I actually know where they are, but I know there's a whole bunch of other highlighters that I'm missing. So anyway, let me know if you have any of these palettes first. Also, let me know what order you think I'm going to rank them or where you would rank them in order. So in last place, this is probably going to be controversial, I put the Alchemist palette because I just feel like it was chalky. It wasn't as good as it could be. And while I like it, it's just, I feel like it was the worst of all of these palettes, and it's not one that I would recommend in the slightest. In how many? I had 6. In 5th place, I'm going to put the other Kat Von D palette. This is the Metal Crush palette. It's just so chunky. If it wasn't so chunky, I would have really enjoyed this, but because it was such a chunky formula, it is in second to last place, which means in rounding out the bottom half is going to be the Wet n Wild Megaglo palette, and this is the one that has the 4 shades, just because I don't know what they were thinking with this, and while they're kind of nice highlighters, they are also kind of lackluster. They don't have the same oomph that some of the other ones do. They're not really blinding highlighters, but they're not subtle either, and just the weird color range. So that's why that one's there. Then in 3rd place, I'm putting the other Megaglo palette from Wet n Wild, and the reason I'm doing this is because those top 2 shades perform so well. They are absolutely beautiful, even if the one is blue, but they are very shimmery. They really have a presence to them. I think they're very pretty. The bottom 2, not so great. That's why it's being decluttered. In 2nd place, I'm going to put my Crime Fairies, Hi-Lite Fairies palette, because yes, it is pretty. It's just, it's good quality. I like it. I just don't like it quite as much as my number 1 pick, which would be Moonchild by ABH. Obviously, the top 2 are the ones that I'm not decluttering. These just perform really well, and I like the variety here. I feel like you can do for different looks, and you have some that you could wear on a daily basis, like that pink. Probably, I would even say the green. Sometimes I could wear the green or the blue ice, this one here, on a regular basis. It's just these other 2 here on the end that I'm not going to be reaching for too much, but I do think this is a nice one, and there's a reason why it went viral all those years ago. So that's it. I have officially gone through all of my highlighter palettes. I need to do some declutter videos. I don't know when those are going to get up, because I have part of my collection here, and I have a larger chunk of it at my parents' house, and then I have some that I'm not really sure what I did with them. So it might be sometime this summer before you see some actual good declutters. I've been working through my blushes, I've been working through my face palettes, I've been working through highlighters and the like. So look for those coming at some point in 2023. Let me know how you are all doing. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I can't wait to talk to you next time. Bye.